Remember about a year or two ago, when the NFT craze was at its all-time peak? When everyone and their nan had an NFT profile picture on Twitter? People talking about it as if the blockchain was like the future of the human race? And people were making thousands, if not millions, off of buying, selling, and scamming others using NFTs as a launching point. It was pretty tiresome to watch as an outsider, right? Well, luckily for us, NFTs have literally never been worth less than they're worth right now. And the hype surrounding it has generally disappeared. So luckily for all the people who see it for the scam that it is, we don't have to listen to all these people hyping it up anymore. Oh. Well, maybe it's like a joke tweet. Like, Dr. Disrespect's a character, right? Like, it's not actually him, he's playing a Oh. Well, before we freak out, let's actually look at what he's talking about here, shall we? At some point in the recent past, there was a giant surge in popularity of a game called Escape from Tarkov. It's like a battle royale game mixed with an MMO, kind of. You go into a match with a bunch of other players and you have to try and run around and find loot to get stronger with. But instead of the main goal being to be the last player standing, like in other battle royales, the goal is instead the loot itself. You need to get out of the match to extract with the loot that you found and have as much of it as possible. The more loot you extract with, the bigger your reward and the more stuff you can sell to the in-game vendors for in-game currency and stuff. That's where this part of Dr. Disrespect's tweet comes from. So this game's explosion in popularity has gotten Big D's brain whirring real fast. He's thought to himself, now what if we had that extraction style gameplay, but you could instead extract with one-of-a-kind NFTs on the blockchain, potentially worth thousands if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he calls that game Deadrop. Sounds like a good idea, right? You've got a good gameplay concept that people really like, and you've got an interesting way to link it to real-world tangible value. Seems great, right? Wrong. Bad idea. Terrible. Terrible idea. You see, video games are made for entertainment purposes, generally at least. But that doesn't stop people from making money off of them. People play competitively in tournaments in front of millions. People live stream themselves playing games with their buddies, just like Dr. Disrespect does. You could even, I don't know, have a small YouTube channel where you make videos just talking about video games. Please like and subscribe. And the bigger the video game industry gets, the bigger that ambition and desire to earn money from it has become. So when you make a game that only has one key unique selling point, and that selling point being NFTs, you of course exclusively attract those people who want that money from the gaming industry, and nobody else. Nobody is gonna get home from work and play this funny NFT game with the boys for a laugh. Everybody playing this game is going to be in it for the money. Now I know what you're thinking, but H2, you don't actually know that nobody will play for fun. Maybe the game will attract tons of legit players and the NFT part will just be the cherry on top. Well, that's where you're wrong, because I actually do know that nobody will play this for fun, or at least I have a very, very good idea that no one will. Because Deadrop is not the first NFT game ever devised. Let me introduce you to Axie Infinity. This is an NFT game that at one point was incredibly popular with almost 3 million average monthly users. This is what the NFT bros like to call a pay-to-earn game. What this essentially means is that any in-game currencies that you earn from playing the game are also real cryptocurrencies that you can buy and sell on the blockchain. But it isn't free to play. Despite these terms sounding vaguely similar, the game isn't free. You need to have a team of at least 3 characters to be able to play the game. These things are called Axies. Each Axie is its own NFT, because of course it is. So you need to have bought at least 3 of these NFTs to play the game. The cheapest Axies cost hundreds of dollars, and the most expensive are hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I hate to break the bad news to Dr. Disrespect and all the people on board with his game, but there is nobody, literally nobody, playing this game for fun. People are playing it entirely for its monetary gain, because that's how the game is advertised, and that's what the game offers to you, monetary gain. Unsurprisingly, when you advertise something as an NFT game, the only people who want to play it are people who like NFTs. And the best piece of evidence that people are just trying to milk the game for money is the fact that most of the people making money from Axie Infinity aren't even playing it themselves. You see, Axie Infinity has what people have lovingly called Axie Axie Scholarships, a name that makes it sound extremely benevolent when in reality it's completely disgusting. An Axie Scholarship is very simple, because the barrier to entry to Axie Infinity is very expensive, because it requires hundreds of dollars invested before you can even start playing. So the people that own a bunch of Axie NFTs started lending out their NFTs to somebody else, and then that person would play the game on their behalf. And then the person lending and the person playing would split the money earned from playing the game. The person actually playing is called the scholar. They've been loaned these NFTs. The person doing the lending is called the manager. The manager, unsurprisingly, makes at least 90% of the earnings made, and the scholar would be left with the scraps. And the most sinister part of all of this is that the scholars are almost exclusively people from third world countries. People from poor parts of Brazil or Venezuela or the Philippines. Places where finding employment is hard or where being employed doesn't pay you enough to survive. These poorer scholars were more desperate, so they were more willing to take terrible deals for terrible money, because at least they'd get something. So of course these were the most valuable people for the managers to employ to play Axie Infinity for them. So Axie Infinity's only unique selling point is the fact that you can make money out of it using the blockchain. And that literally immediately attracted an entire ring of wealthy NFT owners in wealthy nations exploiting the poor overseas in order to earn passive income. But Axie Infinity looks like this, right? So if Dr. Disrespect's game is actually a good game, then maybe it'll be different, right? Maybe it being a good game would actually attract people playing for fun, and the people playing for money would just be a minority. Well, I wouldn't get your hopes up. Because Deadrop is going to be a first-person shooter. And you know what every single first-person shooter ever made has in common, don't you? People cheat in games all the time. Everything from Counter-Strike to chess has its cheaters, and first-person shooters are the most prominent genre to cheat in. And people cheat in these games literally for their own amusement. Maybe they like the feeling of winning against players they know they lack the skill to legitimately beat. Or maybe they just enjoy watching people get angry. But they're willing to actually spend money on a game just to cheat in it. So putting literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of NFTs on the line in a first-person shooter that will allegedly be free to play, you're basically asking for cheaters to come play your game at that point. And we've got companies like Valve and like Blizzard and like Riot Games all spending hundreds of millions of dollars working with some of the brightest minds in the entire gaming industry, trying to make anti-cheat systems that will completely rid their games of cheaters. And even they have cheaters in their games. And these companies are worth billions and billions of dollars. What hope does Dr. Disrespect have to keep cheaters out of his game? And the thing is, this $100,000 mark is clearly going to be incredibly optimistic. They're not going to be worth $100,000. He'd be lucky if they're worth $1,000. But even if the value of these NFTs was just a couple $100, or even upwards of $50, people would still cheat to earn that. Because people in poor countries use these sorts of things to earn a living literally all the time. People gold farm in RuneScape for a couple of dollars a day, because in their country, a couple of dollars a month is the norm for a real job. People boost and deboost accounts in League of Legends for profit because they know it's more lucrative than their actual job prospects could ever be. Cheat software costs a guy in Venezuela like $10 and can potentially make him 5 to 10 times that amount. Why wouldn't you do this? And if the prize pools really will be worth 100k, which they won't be, then it won't just be the impoverished that start joining in on the fun. In fact, worst case scenario is that people don't even have to manually cheat. They instead take a leaf out of the TF2 casual book. Because for those of you watching that didn't actually know, these cheaters in TF2 in particular aren't even human players. They're bots. There's just some code on some guy's Linux PC that runs 10 Steam accounts 24/7 that auto-connects to casual servers and aimbot just to piss people off. These accounts aren't even manned by real people. So if Bradley Bromenheim, the NFT bro, wants to earn some passive income, then maybe he'll invest a couple of grand in a server farm to make literally thousands of bots to chase around these 100k NFT prize pools. Because unless his anti-cheat is completely impenetrable, which it won't be, then this is going to be completely rampant, and it's incredibly naive to think otherwise. But you know, the more I say all of this stuff out loud, the more I'm starting to think that Dr. Disrespect himself actually knows all this. He knows that his pipe dream NFT game makes absolutely no sense, but he's doing it anyway. Why? Because money. Let's take a look at 2 other examples of similar stories, shall we? Example number 1 will be CryptoZoo. You've likely all heard of CryptoZoo because it had Logan Paul trending on Twitter for an entire month about it. A huge internet personality advertises an alleged crypto game with NFT integration. He generates insane amounts of hype for it and gets his loyal audience on board. He then tells his buddies behind closed doors to buy as much of the crypto and NFTs associated with the game as possible, just a few days before launch. You then launch the game and watch the value of these worthless NFTs and crypto tokens skyrocket within the first few days. You sell them at the peak for thousands of times more than what you bought them for, and then you and your buddies earn tens of millions of dollars for basically no work. And if the project dies and doesn't even get finished or becomes a cheater-infested hellhole or something, then who cares? I've already cashed out on my bet, so why would I give a shit? Or it'll go the other way, where it goes the way of this, you know, dumb Bored Ape mini-clip flash game. Instead of being free to play, it will require some sort of NFT pass to play it. Kinda similar to Axie Infinity in a way, except you're not buying characters, you're just buying straight up a pass to play the game. And that NFT pass will be potentially worth thousands of dollars. Oh, and just thought I'd mention that this game here is literally called Dookie Dash, and it's sewer themed, and all of the story and jokes and stuff are all toilet related. The people that made this game are literally pointing and laughing in your face about how much of a giant piece of shit the game is, but it still almost certainly made money, because all the crypto bros that lack the critical thinking skills to see this for what it is bought into it anyway. Because, you know, diamond hands to the moon, buy Dogecoin. I love Elon Musk. So my guess for Dr. Disrespect's Tarkov clone is that it will get made in the exact state that he says it will be made in, but the project will be intentionally built to fail. He knows it's full of flaws. He knows that it will be cheater riddled instantly. And he knows that integrating NFTs into games is a deeply flawed concept that can never work for the exact reasons that we've listed already. But he doesn't care, because hopefully, while it fails, it will make him a bunch of money in the process. That's my theory anyway. You know, it's just a theory, a game theory. Like, you know, don't sue me, Dr. D, I'm sorry. If the game truly is incredible, then I guess I'll be pleasantly surprised. But until it releases, if it ever even does, we'll have to just wait and see what cheater-infested dumpster fire it may or may not become. Thanks for watching.